G'day guys, welcome back to Cobx Masters, where we are now into our grand final for CSGO. Things looking a little bit precarious, I think, for Alpha Red, it's fair to say.
Yeah, looking a little rough, but then we kind of expected it to be MVP's map pick, and I mean MVP's map win as well. But what surprised me was they won 16 rounds in a row. And Alpha Red, they managed to clutch out the first pistol round. They won the following to anti-Ecos pretty convincingly. And the MVP just completely dismantling them, shutting them down. And here's a really cool thing for MVP was, unlike Greyhound, who gave too much of respect to Alpha Red yesterday, here was just them pushing down everywhere. They pushed down Banana, pushed down towards mid, and it was just everyone firing on all cylinders, and Alpha Red looked like a very different team compared to yesterday. But then again, it is, of course, the mapping of Inferno, which Alpha Red, let's be honest, are not that great on.
No, I mean, we can expect maybe something a bit closer on Mirage, at least we're hoping so.
Yeah.
But they do seem underwhelming compared to how they were yesterday. Like, I believe maybe they had a good day yesterday, possibly, but they really got to shift something around because this is not the performance we expected of them coming into today.
I want to talk about this from a player's perspective as well, YB. Obviously, for Alpha Red, that's not the way you want to start a best of 3 series.
So I think in the beginning it looked really promising, like the first 3 rounds, and then like I had a feeling, oh, they can pull this off. Like they looked really solid in the beginning, but then they lost some crucial clutch rounds, or one of the clutch rounds, and ever since then, and then there's one more run on B, which was really important for them, and I feel like they lost confidence. And then you can see MVP like totally taking advantage of this and starting pushing everywhere and completely abusing the fact that they're like so dominant, and then just shut them down completely.
So what does that kind of do to your confidence going into map 2? Like, is this something that Alpha Red is going to be able to come back from, or is it almost like series over?
So this is an interesting part, right? Because MVP made so much pressure on them on Inferno. So I think on Mirage it's not really easy to pressure that hard as CT. So, and it's a new map, so when they have the good mentality, they can easily, like, they have to reset now and make sure that they come back on the new map, basically, new start.
Blair, you certainly seem to think that this one would be maybe a little bit more comfortable for Alpha Red heading into Mirage, but history does say that MVP's not too bad on this map either.
They're very solid indeed. And yesterday what Alpha Red did to Greyhound was basically a lot of misinformation plays, right? They were taking a lot of quick map control, especially towards mid. They were like, for example, setting up a player towards connector and then trying to fake an A wrap, so to speak, and Greyhound just rotating over, leaving B open for them to take B. So there's a lot of explosive setups coming out from Alpha Red, and that's because they were allowed so much of freedom to roam around the map and work with. On the other hand, what we saw from MVP on Inferno was them not allowing them or giving them any room to work with. Hyper-aggression, but very controlled, focused aggression. It wasn't just like one player running down. They had an escape route ready all the time as well. They get the first pick, fall back. Talking about first picks, if you look at the 19 rounds was played in the previous map, Alpha Red only had 5 opening frags, while I think it was Zeta alone had 6 opening kills all for himself. So that goes to show that MVP were really taking the initiative, so to speak. And in a map like Mirage, which relies on playmakers to step up to open up sites, you might have all the flashes, you might have all the smokes and whatnot, and it can be a little tricky for the CTs to hold down, some of the choke points. Unlike Inferno, which has, Banana or towards top of mid, Mirage has more opportunities and avenues for the Ts to really sneak their way into the sites.
Yep.
So for MVP, I'm expecting to see the similar MVP CD side we saw right now. And for Alpha Red, some of the star players need to wake up. Here it's not just about them trying to outgame or mind game MVP. I don't think that's going to work out. I think MVP are more structured and tactically better than Alpha Red. But if they can kind of shock and awe MVP, they might stand a chance here.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of the point I was mentioning earlier, is that Greyhound did allow them a bit too much space in their game against Alpha Red. So I believe the reason why MVP was so strong in Friends was they didn't allow them that space, just as you mentioned.
Yeah.
And since Mirage is more of a structured type of map, for a structured type of team as such as Alpha Red, as we've seen yesterday, they have an opportunity this next map, to actually use those utilities and use that technique that they had, at least from yesterday.
Yeah.
But that's the real test here. Can they actually do that, or are they a bit mentally struggling from the first map?
What's your take on this, YB? Obviously, you've played against both of these teams. I mean, is there enough there for Alpha Red to kind of stand up against the firepower of MVP?
I think they can, but if they will pull it off, that's a question, right? So they have to reset from this. It's the most important thing. They have to forget what happened and focus on a new map.
All right.
But I think they can do it on a new map.
You think you can do it?
I think they can
you think
do
we're
it.
going to a third?
Sorry?
You think we're going to a third?
Yep.
All right, well,
Maybe.
Maybe. We'll see. Time to find out. Let's go ahead and jump back over to our casters for map number 2.
Thank you very much. Yes, this will be very interesting, James. I think this is the perfect map to see a comeback to a third map. But I don't know if I'm confident. I think we're going to have to see a lot of difference from the individuals there. We didn't really see anybody going off. They couldn't find their spots. They're off to a very slow start. Meanwhile, in the MVP camp, of course, they are just feeling it completely.
Yeah, I think it's really hard to tell though with what we've seen so far, because I think we will see a stark difference on the maps that have been studied for Alpha Red versus the maps that have not. Now, it's weird because I think we saw some situations. There were so many things we saw from MVP on Inferno on their T side. For example, the post plot would have had 2 players left. Just the simple things that we take for granted in different regions where 2 players move along. I think it was a pistol round. It was a 2 versus 3. They moved together to try and better their situation. I feel like some of those things were missing in terms of game sense from their opponent. Now, on the maps we saw Alpha Red play, I feel like it wasn't missing, but that's kind of bizarre. So
it is strange.
I feel like it's hard to take what we saw from Inferno and really inject it into expectations for Mirage. So I really have no idea what to expect on this particular map.
Well, that's great, because we are going to be letting the action speak for itself as we go into the pistol. Map number 2 between MVP and Alpha Red here at the grand finals of the CSGO for Cobx Gaming here in Mumbai. And we're going to see a couple grenades there on Olivia, the smoke grenade and the flashbang. Have to see exactly what the intentions are. Looks like they may be trying to run a fake, James. Looking at the setup on the mini-map, that could be a stark possibility. Bomb still dropped in T-spawn, however, and I think it's good for Alpha Red that no one is going on an investigation for MVP. But MVP have 4 players stacked towards that B bomb side. They're seemingly anticipating a B play, but if not, they have a retake set up for A. So this is pretty standard stuff.
So Alpha Red, what are the time codes where decisions are made? Because MVP are not peeking anything, not looking for anything, not really serving you with any information that you might like to see. Still holding passive towards the B bomb site. And if there has been a hard read from MVP, well, I don't know, it seems that there's some indecision. Alpha Red picking up the bomb, moving towards A, then kind of hesitating at the entrance to B apartments. So now it looks like a B split. They have a smoke grenade on Olivia, but they're just walking up. This is an unusual round in a pistol for Mirage, for sure.
Yeah, it's going to be 30 seconds to go for this. Zeph with a nice connection off the bat. HSK now with a challenge towards the apartment. He decides to drop off as Zeph gets traded out finally, and they'll try to make their way in for the plant. But time is starting to be somewhat of an issue as full rotations had, and headshots abound there for the MVP side. Life is looking uncomfortable for Olivia. 1 versus 4. Oh my god, he's actually outpositioned the CTs. He's got time to go for the plant. Planning on default will be safe, but he's got to find 4 headshots with this block, James. It's PT50, in fact.
Well, I think he's the best man from the job based on what we've seen so far. Never mind, he's going to get absolutely wrecked immediately. But the fact that they even got a bomb plant out of that is quite something. And again, I think there was a plan B from Alpha Red. Like they waited passively. They tried to bait MVP, it seemed, into some kind of push. But it's a pistol round. You don't really need to do that necessarily. MVP knew what they wanted to do, stack the B bomb site, and they did that. So they just waited and waited and waited. And it seemed that Alpha Red were moving into a position for a split of the B bomb site, but walking out late in mid versus USPs when you got Glocks again, you've got range issues there. So I feel like I could be wrong, but I feel like it was like some kind of late round call, especially with the way they were moving around T-spawn as well. It seemed like there was some kind of hesitation there.
Well, we'll see an A play coming in from Alpha Red. It was very successful for them in the matches yesterday. If we cast our minds back to the semi they played against Greyhounds, and they are often able to get all the choke points locked off. They were able to isolate players on the bomb site. There's just sign there. Say they will be smoked off, but they'll push in before the smokes bloom, and they lose 2 players before their smokes go off. And third, it is not looking all that good here. Zeta will finally go down, but there's the final trade for MVP to win the round. And James, there we had the smokes, but they ran into the crossfire before the smokes could cut off the crossfire.
On to, well, I say on to the next one, but it's on to the next eco, really. So not ideal timing from Alpha Red. So let's see what MVP, what they can do in terms of keeping their players alive and so on. This is the unique situation to build some early cash. Ooh, well, now you know there's an organ mid. Don't really want to go there. Bomb is in B apartment for the time being, and there's plenty of presence from MVP in the mid area. And Sign looks to move up towards top mid, searching for information. So Merolz is making his way through the underpass, and is there cover for Sign? It doesn't look like there is at the moment. Now he's looking towards the underpass with HSK presumably looking top mid, so it's sorted out. How does he survive with no Kevlar in that situation? I don't know. I think that was a CT smoke, it looks like, so I guess they tried to throw it towards the window and really messed it up badly. 4 players remain for Alpha Red, and they're getting closer to the entrance to B. But now KNTZ and SDK want to peek top mid after the org action, so it's a slow, drawn-out eco round. Again, they want to waste as much money as possible, as well as get some frags. Force MVP to use as many grenades as possible, but the frags look pedestrian. That leaves KNTZ. Top mid with the bomb in B, and there we go. Everything in its right place.
Now we get into another full buy for Alpha Red, and again, drawing some conclusions based on what we saw on their previous Mirage match yesterday. They liked the set pieces on the A and the B bomb side. They had some mid defaults as well. They had a fairly well-rounded T side to throw at their opponents, but already we've seen MVP are offering a more cohesive and generally stronger CT side than we saw from Greyhound yesterday. And one thing that's really cool from MVP, we saw on the last map, is they like to get aggressive. However, speaking of which, we're going to get the aggression from Alpha Red straight off the bat towards that B bomb side. But Zeta's maybe going to spot this. Did he see an arm? I'm not sure. He's surely going to hear what's going on. The 2-man push for underpass. You'll never expect this. UMP coming up the steps. They've got the bomb, and that is a disaster for Alpha Red. What the hell just happened? They had no idea that was coming.
3 players jumped out of the window by MVP at the beginning of the round. Now, I do wonder if Alpha Red's plays are telegraphed and they expected them to all go towards B. Because when do you see 3 players come out of the window? I haven't really seen that kind of thing since NIP were doing B splits on the CT side of the apartment when Threat was their coach. Now, again, Alpha Red looked really, really good yesterday, but MVP are just not allowing them to do anything, and Alpha Red are unable to react. And again, I go back to that round on Inferno where Alpha Red were on a T side and Olivia was T ramp, but not looking at Banana. And they have all those people towards B, and no one's checking the underpass. It's standard. It's standard stuff. You consider that the CTs could make a play, and maybe it's more likely if they've got an SMG with a forward spawn. I don't know, but you have someone looking there.
And I think it's just the style of MVP as well. They are a team that, as I mentioned previously, they like to get really aggressive, and this is a fantastic map for that. You have so many options, as we just saw. I think they got obviously very fortunate in that past round, but well, that will likely get them towards 5 as MVP are not up against all that much here. Just some pistols for Alpha Red to try to find some kills. And Zeph is going to be poking his head around the corner here on the catwalk position to see if he can find out where all these T players from Alpha Red are. And they will finally arrive into this position. Merolz, we can see, makes his way under the window with the rest of his team. And that's just looking to see if they can bait out MVP and see if there's a lack of discipline, that maybe they can punish someone peeking prematurely. But so far, there's not much peeking going on because there's smoke just all over the place.
Another dry round, an arid round from Alpha Red. They have possession of connector for the time being, but you don't want to spend too much time on a pistol round in that mid position with no grenades. It's not really too easy. And as I say that, there are suddenly 2 MVP players left. I don't even know what happened. I don't know if we saw any of those kills. And now it's a 2 versus 2. The bomb's still in connector. They need to go through the choke point. As I say that, it seems they will just wait patiently, and now they've got a chance towards the B bomb site. It's a long rotation through the underpass. STK's picks up a rifle, but he's only got 16 HP. So at this point, maybe you throw the bomb out the window and keep the high ground advantage, but he's going to jump straight out and go for the default plants.
Sign is the man to do it here for MVP. Takes down the first decisive kill, gets the headshot straight away. Now just down to STK. And timing is everything. The HE just about going to miss there. That could have been money, but Sign will get it done. Very confident stuff from him as always. And he will get himself the defuse as well. So As you say, James, very surprising amount of damage there. Alpharad sitting in the middle position, trying to find what they could, and they did fantastic damage. And they've set themselves up here, moving into the next round to do even more damage. So hopefully this is the round where they can kind of figure it out.
Yeah, there's still plenty of money for MVP, but that can quickly disappear when you lose so many players. So perhaps in that there is a chance for Alpha Red. I think some other teams would have thrown the bomb out of the window to keep the high ground in that post-plant situation. May have given him a little more chance in a difficult situation.
Oh.
And we have a gap through the smoke. Jumping on the table support, and Zeta gets one for free. Not what Alfred were expecting, and again, it's a 4 versus 5 early, and they haven't been able to really recover from these early 4 versus 5 situations. That was certainly the case on Inferno, and when you get a 5v4 early, you have like 70% round conversion in general, and now it's a 5 versus 3. This is like a mirror of Inferno so far for me.
I was about to say, it is a flashback, great flashbang into that connected position, and everyone is going down here for Alpha Reds. They had more success in the last round with the Eagles. This has gone very, very wrong, and it's. I think that was definitely very characteristic of Inferno, as you say. It wasn't just that they were giving up the first pick, but it would seem as though it just happened a bit too easily, and it was taken out of their hands. It wasn't as though they'd take a risk and get punished, but it was MVP playing a mixture of playing well, but also putting Alpha Red in bad spots. And we'll see if SDK can get any more damage. They did so much damage in the round prior, but it'll be all recovered. And SDK can do some more. That's a good start. Lost most of his health though, and you'd imagine that MVP will be able to track his movement here. They know exactly what's open. He'll be making his way towards CT. This is actually not a bad angle to come out from, and we can see that currently this might be the most favorable position to try to attack from, as the MVP side don't have perfect information as to what's happening. HSK will take a more safe position considering what is exposed and the fact that Connect is completely open. And the timing not very favorable for SDK. HSK will take him down.
Seems to be going for an open plant, so gambles were going to be taken, but he was denied. Now, I think styles make fights. Stylistically, MVP seems to be the final boss for Alpha Red at the moment. And I love how, even when they get 1-man advantage, a 2-man advantage, they continue with their aggressions until they're satisfied of how much they have disabled the Alpha Red team. I think it was a 5 versus 3 when the pop flash came through the connector smoke to take a player out in that position as well. So I think this is based on an estimation of their opponent. I don't think MVP would necessarily do this by default versus any player, sorry, any team. But versus Alpha Red, it has fantastic results. Looking at the scoreboard, Alpha Red have 4 players with 2 kills or less. Olivia is 006. He's on the verge of being James Bond, and he's been the star for them in the games where we've seen them win. So that is a very telling indicator as to the issues for Alpha Red.
Different approach from them here, and see Meryl's very cautious about this potential push on the underpass. MVP, again, they love to get aggressive whenever they can. This is a great map for it. However, they will go for a passive setup in this round in particular, but not detecting anything in the middle of the map, they may start to wonder about a push coming in on the extremities, and that is, of course, what will be happening. Sign on that shadow position, and Alpha Red with only 3 at the moment towards the A push. They will be reinforcing that. Olivia will be swinging on through, and Miros can be the lurker coming out from mids. And this is gonna, the grenades are gonna have to do everything here for them. And they may wait so that Mayros can get into position on the flank in middle before they execute.
Well, in they try to go. There's the first pick for MVP. Looking comfortable at the moment. Grenades towards that Tetra's position again. It is where your first stop in your path through the choke point, but MVP are all over this like white on rice. They lose 1 player. It's a fantastic round from them again, and Alpha Red don't seem to have a solution to the puzzle of MVP at the moment. Just 1 frag in that particular round. MVP are falling over suitcases of money at present. I do wonder if they'll head towards 16k on most of their players. Alfred in eco territory, so I expect another slow round. Again, I think in the ecos we've seen so far, they spend too much time in the mid position. I can confirm that Olivia is 007. And again, that is the worst case scenario because he seems to be their best player at this tournament so far.
I'm not sure on the past round if they peaked, if they rushed before the smokes bloomed again, because I think HSK got a free shot through before the smoke bloomed on ticket. So it's little things like that need to be fixed. But here goes the pistol rush into the B-bomb site. It is a simple matter for Zeph and for Stax. They'll lose Zeph, but Stax is still in position here to deny this. The rotation through market already, and that's got a bit wrong for Mr. Stax, and all of a sudden KNTC's made it into a 2v2, but quickly remedied thanks to Zeta. So MVP pick up another round. Some damage done, but again, their money's so out of control that it doesn't really matter. 8-0 for MVP. Alpha Red yet to put forward an argument that they are in this game.
The chaos of the pistol rounds is, well, the eco rounds, I should say, is where Alpha Red seem to be having most of their success. And that's not a good indicator either because you can't find consistency in them. It is the buy rounds where you need to be able to execute and outmaneuver and isolate and exploit your opponent on the CT side. You have the advantage of the numbers on the T side, and they try to use that, I suppose, when they set up towards B on the infamous first buy round where they got decimated by a UMP push through the underpass. They've definitely checked it this time. Shown plenty of presence towards the B-bomb site. Now KNTZ is lurking towards A, where there are still 3 players. So it seems Alpha Red may, I mean, actually I say may execute in towards the B-bomb site, but I wouldn't be surprised if they started to rotate out because we have seen that before, and indeed Olivia is rotating the bomb towards the A-bomb site. He's going T-spawn to deliver a smoke top mid, so this might be another split attempt of the B-bomb site.
Position gained in middle, at least for Alpha Red. It's pretty useful. You can build off of this map control, deny some information from the CTs, set up flanks, set up splits, all kinds of stuff you can do from this. It is difficult to coordinate, but once you have connector or once you're deep on catwalk, things do get easier. And the relevant grenades are being used. However, Zeph is rather dangerous there with that AWP, or HSK I should say. And you can see just sitting there ready to strike. Should he move up catwalk? But there it is, he spots them in connector. Is there any flashbang for his position? He's going to be very effective if there's no nades. Oh, it's a double, of course it is. The collateral comes in. It's all gone wrong again for Alpha Red. Olivia, last man standing, and he's against 4. It's not looking all that good for him, James.
Yeah, 5 seconds on the clock. And again, the problem with running the clock down so late is that if something goes wrong, you don't have time to recover from it, and they don't have time. Olivia dies after time as well, so that is not great. He's got $500 in the bank because of that. The rest of his team with 4,500. I don't think that you really want to be standing in connector during a timeout when, worst case scenario, you die, but you can buy your team anyway. So this hasn't quite worked out for them. They've called for a tactical timeout. It is 9-0 to MVP at the moment. But again, yeah, Alpha Red, I think, in some ways, their own worst enemy, playing it too slow. Just too much hesitation in the choke points, especially in mid.
It's one of those things too whereby there are some problems there. When you take mid, if the CTs just decide to give up connector completely, you have to figure this out. And one way that you can play against this is you do also need to have taken catwalk, really push the CTs back off catwalk, put someone in towards the ladder room position so that if they do re-push catwalk, your guys are not going to die in connector. And then you try to bait that opposite peak from ticket, or which is where we saw HSK. And you have your AWP try to pick him. That's when you can go into the bomb site. If you're not going to get that pick on that player, you have to be able to use utility to flash him off, because that's how the setup always goes when the CTs give up mids. They have one on tickets, one around the shadow position, and it's just very difficult to deal with without the appropriate response.
4 players top mid for Alpha Red. Maybe looking to trade in case somebody was in the middle of mid, as there have been in previous rounds. They spotted one when they were pushing through the underpass. So here they go. They've been afforded the mid position. But now what? And that now what, I don't believe really has been answered in any of these buy rounds from Alpha Red. And that's now what that they need to answer. Mini Zeta just camping behind the smoke. He's got the sound cue. He sees the player push through, and it's an easy frag. The spray was a little bit too much, but Zeph is cleaning house in the short position. The bomb's been dropped. Now, Foxes could be exposed towards the connector. Okay, the smoke is up, and with that frag on the B bomb site, they might just have their first round here.
Yeah, this has to be a conversion. This really has to be a conversion. It's one of the best chances we've seen now from Alpha Red. And it's in their buy round. Oh no! Fox looking in a completely the wrong position, exposed. Good refrag coming in from STK. Didn't expect the second player though, and Science going to clutch it out again and just running back to find himself the AWP before calmly going over to defuse the bomb. And that was the best chance I think we've seen, a 2v2 off the plant, James.
Yeah, but the positioning after the plant was absolutely awful. Why on earth is he completely exposed to the short position like that in order to throw a flashbang? If you don't know a flashbang from that position, then find another way. Like, you can't just have no cover from short and assume you're not going to get shot from there. That's just not acceptable at this level of Counter-Strike in a grand final, no less. 0 to 10 for Alpha Red. This is another deletion. 10 rounds in, Olivia is 1 for 10. Mare rolls 2 for 10. Foxes and KNTZ not much better, really. There's no shining lights on Alpha Red. They're all walking in the dark at the moment, in a cave with no batteries in the torch. They've got the AKs out once again, limited grenades. Well, actually, no, they've got pretty good grenades. But what can they do with them? That continues to be the question.
For that burst up top mid again, Zeph, pretty good from this position. Wants to be careful of underpass. You can be, if you go too deep, you do expose yourself towards those lower positions. Zeph will go up into the ladder room. A strong position, making sure that no one surprises his teammates by boosting through the window. You can also watch over catwalk if they are to push towards B for that position as well. SDK pushing the B apartments, but his team not necessarily committed just yet. Zeph is again in such a strong position. Oh, they are getting quite deep towards him though. Will he turn around in time? Oh, they're boosting as well. They have no idea they haven't cleared it. Zeph gets himself an easy 2K. It's all gone wrong again for Alpha Red. Catastrophe, one after another. Olivia will get the trade with the boost, but they have to get this bomb into the B bomb site immediately. Great response from Olivia with the 2K, and also Fox getting it done towards that A bomb site.
Yeah, he's cutting off the rotation. He's kept HSK on the A bomb site. Now it's HSK alone, and maybe, just maybe, we will see our first buy round. The only person who's short on money is Zeta, but 1 versus 3 with an AWP, not ideal. Fox is still in that jungle position, and there is value in him taking weapons away from the T side because they have like no money in the bank, so he can still make life hard for them, even though they are likely to win this round. Finally, Alpha Red are going to get a round on the board. Now, they could still get 5 rounds out of this half, and who knows, that might be enough for a recovery. I think Olivia, his best side is going to be the CT side. I don't say that because he's got like 1 kill or 3 kills now, but because just the style of player he is from what we've seen, I think he'll enjoy the luxury of the CT angles, but again, you need to get some rounds before you get there. 1 round will not be enough.
It's very difficult times for Alpha Red, but still rounds to try to turn things around. And even though it's looked dire up until this point, sometimes, you know, we've passed a lot of Counter-Strike. Sometimes it just turns inexplicably at this point. You get that first round on the board, the floodgates open, and you start picking up additional rounds. And we'll see if that's the case here for Alpha Red. HSK, very nice movement across towards the catwalk position to get a very fast position and ahead of the smoke. It is a beautiful spot for a pick, but he won't be getting anything just yet. I'm liking this mid setup coming in from MVP. It's aggressive. It's what that's how they like to play the game.
So this is what Alfred may have been looking for with the sheer number of people they've been moving out mid with, but again, the positioning of HSK is absolutely brutal. And that will run distraction to 180 from Zeta as well, and it is back to the normal service. 5 versus 2. Alfred with so many people top mid, but just out-positioned by MVP. The first frag with the AWP on short, the distraction being run, the peek from the middle position is beautiful from MVP. Absolutely pulling apart the Lego, and it's just a mess of pieces on the floor. Alfred, Olivia, 1 versus 5. Not a great situation for him. The frag doesn't particularly matter at this point, And it is back in the bin for Alpha Red. 11-1 MVP.
And the only silver lining for Alpha Red is that they have all the money in the world just because they have such a big round loss bonus. And, well, it's so far not been helping them too much. Olivia will be picking up the AWP. Perhaps he'll go for a pick, perhaps a fast play in towards the A ramp or something, depending on his spawn. Okay, so he's got a mid spawn. Could also go for a B apartments pick as well. And that seems to be the case. And this maybe is a way to open up the rounds if he's able to find any stacks going a bit too deep. Will stacks go for the peak? Well, there's a flashbang. That is just great attention to detail coming in from MVP. That flashbang prevents a pick.
We were saying this about Alpha Red yesterday. Seems they left their strap back on the bus because we have not really seen anything from them today. Sign just spotting, holding the HE, which will probably go towards Tetris once he sees somebody. The Molotov is good towards Tetris if you have more teammates with you. There's the HE rather towards Tetris position, but again, oh, that one doesn't really hit the mark. Gets the bricks instead. There's a molly to stop across towards the default area. Got flashes towards CT. Alfred now on the sides. They don't have all the smokes in the world. Loads of choke points are open, and the MVP side will continue to trade 4 versus 2. Go down the stairs, make it a headshot angle. How on earth do they get the bomb down? They've got time, Alfred, but they don't really have too many personnel. The fake plant, there's no one CT now, so they do have an opportunity to plant the bomb.
So they're coming in from the back as well. Doesn't see anyone, and they are in a very dense position there. Oh no, it gets so awful now for Alpha Red. He's just in a corner, no way to defend himself, and that is another round going towards MVP. They are truly outclassing Alpha Red at this point. 12 for them, and still just the 1 for Alpha Red. And this, of course, is the second map of this best of 3. Alpha Red having a similar performance on Inferno, the first map. So this does not bode well for this series. And there are chances at a comeback. They need at least three rounds. They need at the very least.
Well, it's pretty rough, isn't it? It is pretty damn rough, and it seems they'll be going for a standard execute or even just a rush into the A bomb site. A change of pace, going through the smoke grenade. Merrill will be the first one in. Olivia not too far behind with the bomb, but it is of course MVP with the first frag. We've got some Molotovs being thrown all over the place. Sign might like to go for a spray towards default. No bomb plant just yet. Merrill has found a gap in the smoke, but nothing doing. Sign holding CT in the meantime. The bomb gets planted, but it's a 5 versus 3.
Potential if the timing works out for Mayrols to be explosive in this position, but really it has to be him. It's a very difficult position once you get that first kill. It's hard, you can't really fall back anywhere. Takes the next fight, and he will get killed. The trade's there for Olivia. Olivia doing some heavy lifting here, but there's only so much that he can achieve, and that's going to be 13 rounds for MVP. Success on the retake, and once again, Alpha Red, they're getting a bit closer to winning some of these rounds, but ultimately it's not really looking like they can pull them over the line.
13-1, the last round of the first half. And what is there to say that we haven't said already? The bomb plant helps Alpha Red get some money for AKs and grenades in this round. This will be a tactical timeout from Alpha Red. How do we double our score in the last round of the first half? This has looked amazing for MVP.
Yeah.
It's so fantastic. I mean, maybe they studied Alpha Reds. And again, I did raise questions on the Alpha Reds T side of Inferno. You start 4 versus 5. That is a good indicator. If you're able to deal with that situation or try to, it's a good indicator of where you are. But they have not been able to do that in this entire series. There's been no answer to anything that MVP have offered them. No answer at all.
And MVP have been playing some great basics on this map. They are crossing the T's, dotting the I's, very diligent, making sure the pop flashes are in the right places. They've got good timings, good coordination. They know how to rearrange, reshuffle their CD setups without a thought. Everyone's on the same page. They look like such a unit right now. That is so awesome to watch. Going to see a fast play here from Fox. He will get himself in a forward position, but immediately there'll be a push up middle once again. Fox will answer back with the trade into towards the B bomb side. However, the reinforcements is there. 3 players on the B bomb side. The Sign's alone on A. This might be the chance as the bomb is right above him. Does he realize Sign goes down? Beautiful stuff coming in. Alpha Red, there is a chance here. 3 versus 3 after plant. Double orbs on the retake. Not ideal for MVP.
The flash hasn't quite worked out, but neither did the shot. There is a trade there from Stacks. Now, where is Zessa? I don't know that Alpha Red know right now. He's moving through the mid position towards Connector. Alpha Red, they need this round so badly. Stacks waiting for his teammates to try and get some information. Moving forward. I think Olivia is in the sandwich position at the moment. Some Molotov, nothing doing just yet. The bomb is pretty far ticked actually, so this might be going a little too slow for MVP. But there is the last frag, of course, in it. Oh, is he going to have time? I'm not sure. It's going to be a close one. Has he got the defuse? I think he might have, and there we go. It is the successful retake for MVP. A monstrous 14-1/2 for MVP.
James, especially on CT sides, especially on a map like Mirage with Olivia, they need to get that pistol, they need to get the economy so that they have a chance to show us that.
MVP always looking dangerous. They're basically an alligator in a swamp. The waters are calm, but at any moment, they're going to just pop out and snap your arm off. Olivia making a play through Palace. So the patience that Alpha Red showed on the T side of their pistol wasn't rewarded, but MVP's will be. A cruel irony, and now we've got Alpha Red fighting back. Okay, we got some frags here. Abusing the range of the USPs, there's still a chance. Zeta alone, 1 versus 3, trying to plant the bomb, but we've got KNTZ crab walking, but he can't quite get a headshot. He will eventually, though. And that is a much-needed round from Alpha Red. Every round is much needed at this point. 12 rounds just to tie the score. It's a long road back, but it is not impossible.
Yeah, and we haven't really mentioned the fact that Zeta has 26 kills on his, effectively just on the first half alone, so heavily that we haven't really drawn much attention to individual performances because the team performances were so overwhelming. But here we go. They've done what they needed to do, and they just keep doing that again and again. Oh, God. Okay, well, Olivia's gone down straight away. That's the problem. And immediately we see MVP running back. I wonder if they're trying to make a play into the underpass to get the gun. Looks like that might be the case. They're going for the gun, maybe. Or maybe not. Are they just going straight into B? Well, that's an option as well. Alpha Reds should have more than enough to defend against it. They just have Glocks. There's no utility, no Kevlar. And indeed, they will serenade MVP in bullets. And that is going to be that. But to get 2 kills out of a full Glock eco is very annoying if you're Alpha Red.
Very annoying indeed. MVP with about 4,700 per person. The AKs are coming out on the CT side. MVP were playing it like a very smooth T side, and now they're actually on the T side. Maybe things get harder if that's even possible based on what we saw in the first half. Alfred will have the Orgs out. STK rather is on the MP9. No AWP just yet. So far, not so good. 1 for 1 is not favorable for the defending side, so Alfred have issues. They've got 3 players deep towards the A site. STK and KNTZ are clearing Palace, and that is where MVP are headed. So this is going to get really, really weird because they may think no one is here. They may rotate 3 people towards the B bomb site, leaving 1 in situ towards A. That's possible. But STK might actually get some sound cues, so this is going to be a very unusual round.
You never expect to see 4 people going through Palace at this point. This is very strange. But STK is going to get the info for his team. Oh, he's seen the bomb. There's more players there, though. He knows about it. And even though he goes down 1 for 1, they've got the information, Alpha Red. So they're starting to rotate absolutely everyone. And a very deep position there from KNTZ. And considering the time, MVP could just cut noise. They could just stand in T-spawn for a while if they wanted. And see if the CTs will do anything aggressive. And if not, that's cool. Because as you can see, the CTs have to make some decisions here. Do they just try to blindly stay on some bomb sites, or do they go for some risky pushes? They've decided to go for a risky push. KNTZ's going for it. He's gone through T-spawn. They know now that it has to be B, but can they defend it?
There's a weird world where MVP go through connector, but that's not the case with the bomb. Going into B, Zeta slowly moving up the short position. Doesn't know the status of short, but if his teammates can run distraction and a short player has his back turn, then that would be useful. However, KNTZ is charging through apartments. Zeta might hear him and raise the alarm, but he's got taken out, so we've got big problems for MVP. There are 14 seconds to get onto the site and plant the bomb. There's a flank from KNTZ, which leaves HSK in a horrible position. High ground advantage for Alpha Red. There's nowhere to plant the bomb, and he'll get taken down from the market door, and that's round number 4 for Alpha Red. 10 rounds to pick up. They've put MVP back in eco territory, so another round is all but guaranteed for Alpha Red. 1 round at a time, 1 round 10 times.
And Fox, the good guy that he is, will drop an AWP to Olivia, and that's one of the things that we need to see to really allow Alpha Red to do this, because MVP has shown us such good fundamentals that you can't just play passively. You have to get some rounds in when Olivia pushes, as we saw yesterday, gets an early pick, such as that, and puts the T's in a 4 versus 5. Oh dear. HSK gets a quick pick. Olivia's got to be careful if he gets headshot here. I know it's unlikely, but they're walking such a thin line at this point that I'm afraid for any little thing to go wrong, because they have no margin for error left, as MVP are only 2 away from winning this. Oh.
Round 2.
There we go.
Marvelous. Heat Seeker with some malfunction, but it was repaired in time. 1 minute on the clock for MVP as they close in on that connector position. Fox, what is this peak going to be like for him? Fox sees one, swats one. There's another one. MVP, it's their turn to get stuck in a choke point. There's no support yet from the A bomb site, however. Olivia could peek at the same time, and he starts to do that as his teammate's being taken out. A little too late, though. Second try is the charm of the AWP. That leaves Zeph in a 1 versus 3. Now, again, just taking out some players here. MVP have such a round advantage that these frags on the eco rounds can pay off in the later rounds. It can mean that Alpha Red are short of a grenade here and there, and that might make the difference between a round win and a round loss. And a round win would put MVP on match point immediately.
Yeah, honestly, it's a struggle for Alpha Red to even rebuy the AWP. That's been a really big problem. So it's a very important point that you make, and MVP, they have so much room to try so many different things. You can see here, they're just going to just give a B-rush a go. Give it a go, see if it works out. Just going to run through the flames there, a smoke to defuse any Molotovs going in, but now they cut noise. So they pulled some rotation, and now they're going to begin to walk back. But
I think partly because they messed up all their grenades, essentially. They tried to throw a smoke onto the site and landed in the apartments. The Molotov went the wrong way as well. So all the places they expected to compromise in terms of where Alpha Red could stand were wrecked.
well, they have some smokes left, and they'll be deploying those towards the B-bomb sites. So they'll be going for this regardless. And there's no forward positioning for Alpha Red. However, they do have 3 on the B-bomb side anyway, so they look good to deal with this. Cobx able to take one down. It's very, very blind, and this is working out brilliantly for the defending side. Alpha Red looking strong on the hold, but so the defense might be cracked open. Just down the sign, and he's been fantastic, of course, but it's a lot to ask. Goes through the smoke. He is utterly denied by KNTZ, and that's going to be 6-14 Alpha Red with another round, and forcing MVP into... Oh, actually, no, they have just enough money for a buy, so they'll be getting the AKs out once again. Mostly AKs.
Two Galils for MVP. Now, if they can line up their grenades properly, maybe a fast play will be more successful. 4 players going straight towards the A bomb site, and Stacks, I think he might have thrown a flashbang up top mid, trying to run distraction in that position. 3 players in Palace, a simple burst. Again, keeping it very, very simple. But Olivia, again, I told you, the CT side, it works out for him. He's ready now. And I do start to wonder if the comeback is on for Alpha Red. As crazy as that might sound with half the score of their opponent, I think if Olivia gets cracking, then there's going to be real big issues for MVP.
Yeah, absolutely. It's going to be a difficult one for MVP with Alpha Red keep performing like this. And one of the things about this position that the MVP have as well is that they if they have like a good A set piece, if you run that set piece, 3 or 4 times, it's very likely that that's going to yield at least one single round. If it's has some good rehearsal to it. And they seem to really like the idea of going towards B here. They will be on pistols this time around, and so I do wonder how successful this might be. We'll likely see more success than when they had rifles. That seems to be the way it goes sometimes. But Alpha Red are not on high alert to be as they were in that round. So this might actually indeed work out much more favorably. And considering that Myros is fairly alone on the bomb side playing bench, there is a world. There's a world. However, if he drops a defensive smoke, then maybe that world goes away. But he doesn't have any smokes. Just a flashbang. There it goes.
Fox blind for the time being, but now he can see again, and most players are still in the choke point. That's a problem for MVP. Alpha Reds dealing with this comfortably for the time being. Okay, with the CZ. But Merolz is in a strong position, and they might not check this immediately. Indeed, it's a free kill for him. They're lining up on the balcony. Now there's one player left. HSK is trying to do some more damage. It will be the 2 frags, and that's about it. It keeps the CT money honest, but there's another round in the bag for Alpha Red. And with every buy round they win, Alpha Red, if MVP don't plant the bomb, then it's a free round for Alpha Red. If MVP do plant the bomb, they get 4,200 and they can buy again. So that is something to keep an eye on. It's very important for Alpha Red not to allow a bomb plant.
Yeah, and I have to say, at this point, Alpha Red, they start to gain a lot of confidence, and that's really important too. So let's see if they will find a way to open things up well here. They've only got 1 player in mid. It's just Olivia trying to get a pick. And
Just Olivia, he says.
yeah. Oh, hello. There is a leg shot as they jump across. To get the frag though. He's going to go back to the well once again. Can he make it happen? No. Okay, so he's been punished there in connector. That's a problem because now the split's on. But there's 2-man setup on the pit position. That should be strong enough to deal with this.
Well, oh, the Augur's getting activated. T's moving through the connector position, but it's Alfred lighting up the kill feed at the expense of MVP. I was going to say, frag Olivia, maybe win the round, maybe not. Seems the CT side is very, very strong for both of these teams. The fadeaway HE may never land, and that is Alpha Red on 9 rounds. Again, MVP don't plant the bomb, so... Well, it seems they've built some money anyway, so they could actually get an extra buy out of this. Because everybody's $4,000 or above, so they are comfortable for a buy. There will be a tactical timeout from MVP. Their lead has quickly disappeared. They have not won a single round. In 23 rounds, 1 T round has been won between these 2 teams.
Yeah, that's a bit unusual.
They haven't planted the bomb in this half either. They have not planted the bomb a single time. So they're actually doing even worse than Alpha Red were in the first half.
That is very concerning, not even a bomb plant.
You didn't think it possible, but they are actually doing even worse.
Right, so we have a game on our hands, perhaps, as MVP try to figure it out, and they'll have the full buy-in here. HSK on the AWP. Doesn't have enough money for Kevlar, though, so but that's fine when you're on the AWP mostly. We'll see if it impacts him here. Going for a fast play towards the top position. He will smoke himself. There's the run boost. HSK unable to find anyone. Olivia going back again, though, to the peak. Olivia loves to stay active with this AWP again. It's so important to do so. It's the best weapon for non-tradable kills, and that is a very big deal.
I thought that was the revolver.
Not quite.
All right then, MVP, you require 1 round for match point. So far, you have failed 8 times in this half. But this is good. We spoke about not losing a player early. That's the case here. We've got a minute on the clock and it's a 5 versus 5. But with these grenades being deployed, they have practically no grenades left, but they are moving into a split of the B bomb site. They've got a smoking connector, so this is going to be a very short warning for Fox. He's put himself in a spot where if somebody wide peeks him and there's a trade frag attempt, there's nothing he can really do about it. He's surely going to go down. Exactly that. There's a team kill in fact, but they do have position. Now Merolz has a lot to do, and he's doing a lot. Oh my god, has he done enough? Zetar has got to find this frag. CT on the side, there's about 25 seconds on the clock here, so there is a lot of pressure for MVP. We've got flashes over the top, but he's got to find these CTs, and it's not happening. Close but no cigar. Alpha Red now only 4 rounds away.
Fox actually did such a good job there on Catwalk. He not only did he get the kill, the initial kill, but he actually dinked 2 players immediately. So he had 2 players in the red on about 10 HP each, trying to move into the bomb site, allowing his teammate to really clean up. Mayrol's there on the anchor position on the B bomb site. So it's going to be 10 rounds now for Alpha Red, only 4 away from their opponents. That is pretty unfathomable if we think back to the first half.
I'm not biased, Dan, but I can't imagine going up 14-1 and being unable to win a single round. That can't be a thing. It cannot be a thing.
Well, it's not over yet. The story is still developing, still unfolding in front of our eyes as we get back into this one. The freeze time is going to end in about 10 seconds, and we'll see MVP on a pistol round. And if it was to be any round, James, it's probably a pistol round where they have a bunch of utility where they make it work. We'll have to see what the intentions are. They often go towards B every time so far with these pistols, and B has been, of course, you know, a failure every single time. They've never really gone towards A with their grenades. And back to B once again, see if they have a different result.
Okay, so this is a fast execute from Zessa. He goes forward ahead of his teammates, maybe avoiding some potential grenades. And he is so far ahead of his teammates, there's no one there to trade. They're not even through the smoke on the balcony yet. So this is, the timing is weird. I mean, yeah, it is a pistol execute, but still, he flies into the bomb site. He's in the middle of the site, basically, and his teammates are not even by the windows, and there is some life for the crowd yet. I think Alpha Red are the favorite, at least as far as the crowd are concerned. So that is exactly the same timing that MVP had in the previous run, where they kind of cancelled the push. But again, once you're going through the window and so on, your teammates need to be there to trade. That is the glory in the numbers, but that wasn't the case for MVP, and smoke on the balcony didn't really work out for them.
I think they've run the B set piece like a few times, and it's failed miserably every time. They have never gone to the A set pieces, which I've been really surprised about, because it's, with pistols, it's really effective as well. So MVP, perhaps that's something that they typically lean on, but they're not finding the successes that maybe they normally would. And all of a sudden, it's such a change of narrative where, you know, MVP become quiet and passive in their gameplay, when that was the story for Alpha Red in the first half. Very unusual stuff here, as we'll see Fox flashing himself in for a mid peak. Also, obviously, he does have some assistance there from Olivia, playing connector with the AWP. And there we go. Late top mids take coming in from MVP. With about a minute on the clock now to make a move towards the bomb sites. And we'll see Sign throwing the smoke towards the, I think that's the door position on market.
It's the window.
That's window? Okay.
Yeah, the top corner of that. It's a jump throw to the window. It's such a crazy difference in these halves, because in the first half, MVP's CT aggression was what was taking the game away from Alpha Red. And on this half, Alpha Red, outside of some peeking with Olivia in mid, they're just waiting for MVP to make their plays, essentially. And they're just fragging them. They're using the organ, just abusing these players. And here is Mayrolls again, doing exactly the same thing. Just able to get these kills. He makes it look easy. And MVP just have no answer. Every round is like this. Alpha Red not really contesting mid too much, just waiting on the sites and cutting them to ribbons.
Still a chance though. Zeph looking for a peek. Flashbang comes in. It is a trade though. He's got the bomb and he's got to plant that immediately. Does he have time to do it? He's just got to go for it. Tries to fake it up. He's got no time. So he's going to die after time and get absolutely no money. He's stuck on $550. And that's something that we saw happen to Olivia on the first half, actually. So this is very strange indeed. The comeback is absolutely on here for Alpha Red. And if things continue, James, they actually seem more favored to actually win this. Which a single T round one and not a single bomb plant in this entire first half. Not a single bomb plant. That is
the level
crazy.
of failure is unprecedented. It is unprecedented, and it's so bizarre just because it's so different. It's not even a mirror of the first half. Again, a CT half for MVP. They are making the plays. They're putting the flashbangs through the smoke area. They're the ones having 3 players jumping out of the window, going through the underpass and getting multi-frags of a UMP versus the AKs of Alpha Red, because they're just not watching the underpass, things like that. But they're just getting out-jeweled on the sites, on the B bomb site. Alpha Red are just waiting there. Here comes an AUG, and they're all dead. and they have no response. They can't trade with some of the angles that Merols has been taking, which has been really solid. Towards the A bomb sites again, it's just a case of duels. Just, okay, we'll just win the duels. It's that simple, but to do it for 11 rounds in a row and not get a single bomb plant is bizarre.
It is crazy. And we'll see the Pistols back at it again. No utility to assist them. And finally, they'll go towards A. I just wish they had some utility to back it up with, but they will likely be walking into the meat grinder here. There's 3 CTs ready to receive this. Smoke down on the balcony position just to make it that much more uncomfortable. And another smoke going in. Seems as though Alpha Red know exactly what's coming. Doesn't matter really for MVP that they are so under-equipped for this. And as you mentioned, Alpha Reds are so happy to wait for the play to be made by MVP. It's so ready and willing to cut it down. There you go. KMTZ defending the Palace. And now it's a competition for the last kill. And you know, one of the typical ways the default operates on this map is you take middle, you take connector, you take the ladder room, and therefore you push back the CTs. If the CTs decide to be aggressive, you get options to get frags and picks. And even if it's like a 4 versus 4 after that, it's still pretty favorable because the CTs have to give up space. Then you can fall back out a mid if you want, leave someone there, and maybe leave one guy in connector, then put 3 through T spawn to push A, or do the same but with 3 pushing towards B. These kinds of that's generally how a default functions in basic terms. We've seen MVP struggling to do any of that.
Even in that eco round, if you look at the money that's left on the likes of Zeta, Sign, and Stacks, I mean, you could argue that they buy less in that round to give them more of a buy in this round. Sorry, in the next round, should they lose this one. But I think the alternative is just kind of making more effort in that eco round, because that, again, the anarchy of pistols can be what wins you stuff. And again, outside of the aggression of Olivia in mid, they're just waiting Alpha Red. They're just waiting, and they are out dueling round after round after round after round. Every round, no plants. I don't even know what to say.
This round, we may just see a plant here. The smoke set piece will come into the A-bomb, so that should isolate players. The Molotovs in the right positions. A forward flash to slow down the Ts. The counter utility is pretty good here for Alpha Red. There's no smoke on the stairs, though. There's no smokes to cut off these positions, and this is just so favorable for the CT side. They don't have... They are getting free shots off. This is a problem. SEK, that Molotov looks like it's not going to spread to his position. So now there's still a CT in the bomb side. This is hopeless right now in this round for MVP. They're not going to get the bomb down, I don't think, unless something crazy happens. Flashbang in, HSK taking heavy hits. 3 players left to deal with, and he's only got 19 points of health as he looks for the peak from default, but that player does not have to peek him at all. Does pick it up, and Flashbang sailing over the top, but Alpha Reds, they can play this slowly.
Okay.
Oh,
he's faking the bomb plant. They have never got a bomb plant. Please, just do it for the stats. Okay, he's got to commit to it now, and they could just rush him because he has to commit to this. So he's really outplayed his hands. He took a gamble. It didn't work out. He did plant the bomb, so they are able to buy again. At least there is that. They finally planted the bomb. It only took them 13 rounds to plant the bomb. So we have made a step forward, Dan.
Alpha Red certainly have. They've equalized, James. They were down 1-14, and now it's 14-14.
I've never seen anything like this. I'm
not in
pretty
the grand
sure.
finals, yeah.
I don't think I've ever seen anything like this.
I don't think this has happened.
13 rounds to plant a bomb. And that almost didn't happen either.
Yep, it was in the very last moments by the skin of their teeth. They did get it down. And as you said, the extra money is very useful in making sure you can have all the utility in the AWP if that's an option that you want to use. So the problem with that round was that we didn't see the smokes. They were waiting to throw in their own. They threw Molotovs, they threw flashbangs, but there's no smokes, James. There was no smoke on ticket or stairs or jungle, and so that just allowed that allowed Olivia to go to town.
Why is that a thing?
Yeah,
that exists.
You gotta disable the options for the defense, cut off their angles, their vision, so that you can make ground into the bomb site. We're gonna see a faster play, I think, from MVP here towards A. Looks like they may just go for a burst and not rely on any smokes. They're going to have to walk through that, I think. This is going to be quite interesting. Can they make it happen? No, KMTZ does get one on the side. The trace coming out from Olivia once again, though. No smokes down, and that's a fantastic wallbang coming in from Olivia. Very much needed shot. This round still on, though, for MVP. It's a 2 versus 2. Still a huge chance for them to pick up their first round on the second half.
The bomb is exposed on the A-bomb site. Merols is watching it. Now, with the time on the clock, I think Zeta's going for a flank through the B-bomb site. I would be surprised if Alfred expect this, but Stax has to stay alive, and Olivia is hunting. But he can only go so far. So, let's see now. Zeta's just posting up for the time being. Merol starts to wonder, starts to look at the crawl space. Now, I think Stax may be showing some presence. Merol, okay, gets taken out absolutely instantly. Olivia, though, he's the man to clutch. The scope has surely got to be heard now. Down to the Caesar 75. His teammate needs to make a play forward in the meantime. And he does, but he's got to go and get the bomb. 35 seconds. You don't want to take that duel where Olivia's only got his head to show. Run, 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 because Olivia is coming.
Deep breaths. This is the man you want on the team left in the clutch. Olivia, can he save the day here? Prevent this round going to MVP. Prevent them, MVP at least securing an overtime. That's what this is all about here for Olivia. As he moves forwards, doesn't know exactly where the other player is. Does have a smoke, but Stax gets it. Oh, down to 22 HP, and MVP pick up their first round in round 29, no less, which gives them, James, still the option to win this series, to win this grand finals.
Wow. Well, I guess MVP needed some pressure. 13 rounds in a row. But can they convert it? We have some calls for overtime, and you might just see it with Stax on a Mac 10. The Mac 10 on Mirage is not ideal by any means. I'd rather have a Deagle. Olivia in that short position gets one quickly, and there's another frag for STK, and there's a free one for Olivia. MVP just running into a meat grinder, fingers first, and then the face. Oh, I mean, Olivia's on short. Why not peek Olivia, Dan?
He's absolutely loving it, just devouring all these players. And MVP have fed right into their hands. Well, finally, he's dead. He's been eliminated. He's been silenced. But it's a 1 versus. This is to take the game now, to take the series. HSK has to ace clutch. That would be a crazy thing.
It's not happening.
Fox is still on the AWP. Of course, it was a double up setup from Alpha Red. The bomb is lost on the catwalk position. However, there is time for Fox to work with. We'll spot a player towards Ticket. Now, that's kind of problematic. As you can see, the CTs now have an absolute understanding of where he is. And there's the peak. 15-15. We're going to overtime. Let's see if this one works out.
That is wild. I cannot register what I've just seen. From 14-1, you can't get a bomb plant for 13 rounds. Then you win just the 1 round. That is, I don't even know. I don't know what the stats are for that kind of thing, but it has to be unprecedented. Now we can see it is $10,000 per person, 3 rounds a half. So Alpha Red starting on the CT side have to be careful with their economy, because if you lose 2 rounds on a CT side, and let's say you go double ops or something, it's almost a given that you're going to go 0-3. So MVP, you still have a chance to kind of figure out how to play T-side Mirage. Yeah. Well, I say that, it's how to just win duels on the sites, really. That is where they've just been getting wrecked every single round.
Yeah, I mean, they haven't been setting themselves up correctly with utility. That's been a big problem. And I saw a smile from Olivia. Perhaps he feels like it is their game to win now. It's overtime. However, it's going to be the B-bomb side immediately for MVP. Where was this in regulation? Oh my God, this is always the way, isn't it? Just the first round of overtime. Oh, we can just easily take team rounds now. No problem at all. And Mayrols, who's been such a steady pair of hands, demolishing every B push, went down very quickly there. And MVP, they will take the first round of overtime, James.
There it is, only their second T round in years, in donkey's years. Now we'll see if they can string a second one together. It looks like the AWP has to be rebought for Alpha Red, and boy, do they want Olivia on an AWP after a horrific T side. He is currently, I think is he on 34 frags? I think he is. Olivia, oh no, 24 frags. Okay, excuse me. That would have been a very, very bizarre. But 24 frags is still a hell of a lot, mostly in that CT side. So he really has been delivering, and he will be on the AWP once again. But if they lose this one, I don't know. I guess KNTZ could drop one, but the rest of the team would be very, very short indeed. So they need Super Olivia. Not just for the CT side, though, once the sides change. They need to be able to have some progress there as well. But first comes the second round of overtime. MVP on the T side, the usual grenades towards that connector position, but Olivia is ready and waiting. He'll be smoked off completely.
Zeph will be pushing forwards there into the apartments, seeing what he can find. They're also looking a lot more ready for this. He's got Fox for support. MVP trying to repeat the success of the previous round, but maybe it will be a little bit more difficult because Olivia's in play on that B site, and he's going to be knocking him down here. Another frag for Olivia, headshot no less. The Stax wraps around the side, looking to see what he can find, but it's Mayrolls to close it down in favor of Alpha Red. So one apiece now into this first overtime, and it's, you know, we often say, James, when it gets to overtime, that's when things get really weird. But things are already weird, so I don't know where we go to now.
Yeah, we've seen plenty of weird so far. Their rushes towards B, I feel like are always telegraphed enough for Alpha Red to throw Molotovs in, because they're throwing the flashes in and so on, but they keep having one guy ahead of everybody else jumping out of the window. Ideally, you want most of the people pushing together to go through a choke point while one person throws the flashes over the roof, but they seem to have loads of flashes and one person moving in instead. So that guy gets picked off. The rest get isolated through Molotovs and smoke grenades. Then they're stuck having to run through smokes on the balcony in many of the pushes towards B, and it's just like, it's just disaster. And again, they're not going to wait out the CT smoke, it seems. They're just going to try to push straight through it instead. Stax will be the first one out. He's getting hit with grenades as well. Just standing in the middle of the smoke. What? It is bizarre. I think there may be a lurk smoke of their own. Not one that you see too commonly. You can only peek in two corners, basically, on Tetris or the other bricks, and it's not going to work. They're going to get cut to pieces again. And again, Olivia just punishing people coming out of the Palace, as we've seen multiple times before. So very uninspired pushes from MVP. Weird timing in that they could just wait for the smokes to go, and they'd be in a better situation.
Yeah, they seem to be struggling with understanding the best ways to take the A-bomb site. You know, we've seen all these rounds where there aren't smokes in the right places, and when it comes to that, it's a problem because the whole point of the smoke executes is that you cut off vision. So that end of what happens then is that you're able to gain ground onto the bomb site and take position, get a bomb down, then you push the CTs out of position again. And right now MVP just get to take all the shots they want. Their counter utilities having massive value. Either way, we're into the next round. It is the second half of the first overtime now. Alpha Red back on the T side. Maybe they can show an improved T side again. They have a lot to prove to us as well, James.
Bizarro World here in Mumbai on Mirage. 14-1. Continues to peek Olivia, no fear whatsoever. I'm terrified just sitting here with Olivia on the AWP. Although, again, let's not forget, his T side was awful in regulation.
But now maybe he's feeling it. Now maybe he's warmed up, James. That's the hope, at least. Slow one from Alpha Reds. Moving towards the B apartments now, and perhaps they can find a pick. Is Olivia there? Because if you lead with the AWP as everyone moves forwards, no, he's not, a case in T-spawn. But that's one way to do it. You kind of just play contact with the AWP just scoped in looking first, and that way, you know, you can, if someone is jump spotting, maybe you get the pick with that AWP, and then you can kind of cue the push. However, MVP still playing it very chill. We saw this on the first half as well. Alpha Red suddenly deciding to go and run towards that A-bomb. So it's 3 players there. Will they have the utility for this? A very well-timed smoke there. With 30 seconds left, why not throw that smoke? That's a really smart play.
Exactly, and HSK still has a Molotov as well. So once these grenades start to come in, he could either choose to molly the CT position, but Sign is here, pushing through the smoke. The bomb's rotating away with 18 seconds. Where could it possibly go? SDK making his way towards connector. They're up top mid, and Zeph is going to start to cut them down. He need not take this fight, just kill the time, because there's 9 seconds on the clock, but it'll peak a bit more. They have the numbers advantage, though. That bomb is not going to get planted, so Alpha Red with problems on the T side once again. They don't challenge enough towards the A bomb site to exhaust the utility over there. A late smoke from MVP. They had a Molotov if they wanted it. Players forced to push through the smoke. They choose to rotate away, but that was never going to work with the time on the clock. So one disaster after another. And here we are again. And this would suggest that MVP are now in a stronger position because the CT side seems to be the key.
Yeah, absolutely. They had so many rounds to figure out their T side, perhaps. And Alpha Red, they don't have any rounds to figure it out at this point. They need to make it work, and they're leaning in on this B rush. It seems like both teams were relying a lot on B rushes, and it has not really been working out for anyone. Obviously, that's how MVP got their one round, was a successful B rush. And perhaps leaving a lot to chance here, Alpha Red, but let's see if it can work out. Flashes through, Fox first man in, will be fine. Absolutely nothing is. Zeph stacks all in position, ready to do the damage, and the CTs are getting all the kills. The T's once again, James, they can't get out the apartments, and it is a disaster again on the B-bomb site.
2 versus 4. There's time on the clock, but they're still in the choke point. And again, it's the same issue. We'll see what Olivia can do, though. He's very, very capable. Not dead just yet. Gets his bell rung, but he's alive. I hear him on the balcony. So we heard the flashes start to come in. I heard like 3 or 4 flashes, and I thought, okay, at this timing, I'm expecting people to go through. Then I hear like 3 more flashes, maybe 1 or 2 more flashes, and it's like you're throwing so many flashes, you're not getting onto the site because you're busy throwing the flashes. It's kind of, you're doing too much of A and not enough of B. So you're stuck in a choke point. Maybe one guy gets onto the site. He doesn't kill everyone. Therefore, the rest of you are stuck in a choke point. So again, it's exactly the same issues we said about MVP. They're busy throwing way too much utility and not bursting into the site with numbers. You need to spread, you need to go wide, just like this. But again, a rush into the A bomb site now. Again, it's match point for MVP. Let's not forget. So far, so good. 4 versus 3 for them. Zeta will take a player out in sandwich position. That leaves Livia and Mayrolls. And I think that MVP might just have done it. They've got too many people alive, and that will be that falling to the flames. MVP will be your champion at the Cobx Masters 2019.
It's very scary, James. Very scary indeed. Really, Alpha Red, were threatening that third map. But they never got over the line. Both teams with problems, but MVP were the better side for sure.
Indeed, and I do believe we will be going over to our host for the rest of the proceedings. Congratulations to MVP, commiserations to their opponent, Alpha Red.
Now, if the winning team please can come with me and we get to grab that beautiful trophy. Honestly, amazing. It's better than most of the majors I've been to. Yeah, feel free. Whoever wants to, just lift it up. Yeah, announce it to the crowd. Whoa, come on, crowd. Get me some hype for this trophy. Yeah! Who wants to speak for the last time? Who wants to give the last words? Come on, what do you feel? You won this tournament. How do you feel right now?
Feeling nice.
Nice, yes.
Nice.
Yeah. What are you going to do with all that money and the beautiful trophy?
Eat Indian food.
Well, he gives back to the community. Come on, one round of applause for this magnificent team.
Ask me one more?
Yeah, please say. Wait, one music, thank you. Huh? He wants to speak more, come on.
The crowd is just amazing, and thank you. Very thank you. And finally, we have time to eat really nice Indian food.
He is very excited about the Indian food.
Yeah.
How can you take spice? Is that okay? Are you okay
Yeah,
with spice?
I already tried masala, but yeah, it's great. Because Korean guys also very like spice food already.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you guys.
Thank you, India. I love you.
Thank you guys, you were wonderful. It was amazing watching you up there. You can now go rest backstage. We'll take it on from here. Clap them away, MVP, PK, everybody.